Hi everybody, and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to my famous kitchen series of question and answers. Now today we have an interesting question that I was asked over on the YouTube channel's comments, and I thought I'd make a kind of short video about it and give my opinion and my answer to the question. Now the question's from Bear Bull Cruising, which is one of my subscribers on the channel, and he or she, actually I'm not too sure, I think it's a lady, but he or she, they asked about should I bring my passport off the ship in port. So it says, I have a question about passports and leaving the ship for excursions, or whether it's advisable of should I bring my passports with me off in the port, or should I leave it on the ship, perhaps in the cabin somewhere, and in case anything happens. So I'm very fortunate that I've actually got two passports. I have my Australian passport and my British passport. If you're not aware, I was actually born in England, but my family emigrated to Australia when I was 8 years old. And because I was born in the UK, I can basically get a British passport because of citizenship. And because we've lived in Australia all my life, I've got an Australian passport. So should I bring this with me off the ship in the port? Now, my absolute answer is no. I would 100%, I don't know, 1000%, suggest that you'd leave it on the ship in your cabin safe, or perhaps in the drawer of your cabin on the desk, or even right on the desk. Your cabin is a very safe place that literally no one has access to, barring your cabin steward, or in the need of an emergency, security, or a firefighter if there was an emergency. But basically, it's very secure to be left on the ship. Now, one of the part of the question was about taking it off in the port. Now, absolutely, you can take it off the ship. No worries at all. That's completely up to you. If anything was to happen, like for instance, you go to the beach, or you go shopping, or let's say, God forbid, somebody was to maybe steal your bag or take your bag or your wallet, maybe not even realizing that your passport was in there when they took it, basically it's gone. And then you may have troubles then flying in or out of the country if you had to. Returning back to the ship, you can get back on board the ship without identification. They'd basically pull the ship's manifest or the ship's passenger list at the gangway and liaising with the port security that allow you to get back on the ship without a form of ID, no problems. Should I take it off the ship in case I need it for any reason? Personally, no. If anything was to happen, the ship actually would be able to access your passport by sending someone to your room, like security or a member of guest services or the information desk, and they would actually go and look for your passport. So, for instance, if the ship was to leave port without you and you didn't get back to the ship in time, and then you're stuck in a foreign country, let's take, for instance, Mexico or Belize, maybe the Bahamas, then you had to fly internationally back to, let's say, America as an example. The cruise line, in conjunction with the port agent, who's the one that looks after the ship when it arrives and departs, they would liaise to get the passport of the missing person, or who hasn't returned back to the ship's passport from their cabin, and then the ship would hand it over to the port agent. So at any point then that you would come back to the port, they would have your passport, allowing you an easier flight back home or out of the country. You could, let's say in theory, wait 4 or 5 or 7 days for the ship to come back again on its next cruise. But typically most people would want to go home within a day or so, or right as it happens, if it was possible. So another suggestion would be to make a copy of your passport. Now, short of me showing you my information, get a color copy made or a scan of your passport, and maybe email it to yourself on your phone, or take a photocopy or a color scan and have that in your bag or purse or beach bag or whatever. So you've got basically a copy of it. Boarding the ship in the ports of call, typically in the Caribbean, they just ask that you've got your ship room card, sail on sign, sea pass, whatever the word is that you'd like to use, and then a second form of ID, which is a government issued photo ID. So a lot of people actually tend to come back in the ports with their driver's license, or even a military ID, or maybe some sort of a student card that's got a photo on it. Kids under 16, basically the parents or guardians can vouch for the person, so they're not necessary to show an ID because they'd be too young typically to have one. But in my suggestion, absolutely leave your passport in your cabin, leave it in the safe if you can basically do that. It's fairly easy once you figure out the first time how to use your safe, or leave it right in the drawer on the dresser, so that if someone was to come to your cabin to look for it, they would typically search in the obvious places like your safe, like on the desk, in the drawer. So it could be given to somebody shoreside if you were to not return to the ship. I mean, if you were planning to get off the ship and not come back, let's say jump ship as they call it, the expression is jumping ship. I don't know, you could take your passport, but for the sake of just getting off and going shopping or going to the beach or just having a nice excursion somewhere or walk around the port, I don't think it's necessary to bring it off. For me, this is a very valuable document, and it's not an easy thing to replace. It's also not cheap to replace either. Typically a couple of $100 US, maybe depending on what country you're watching this from, you'd know the value of a passport, and how difficult it is to replace it, and then going through that procedure of getting a new one. I mean, these are valid for 10 years in most cases, so it's something you want to keep and cherish and hold on to that full duration of the 10 years, and not take it off, lose it, leave it on the beach, drop it in the sand because you're a little bit, you maybe had a couple of drinks in the port. So yeah, so my answer is no, leave it in the cabin, get off the ship. That idea of getting that photocopy or color scan printed out maybe before you leave from home, so you've actually got it with you, and maybe put it in a different part of your bag. It's a great idea. I would heavily suggest that as well. Hope you found this answer to the question interesting, and to basically how I would do it. I guess there's no real right or wrong, but it's really up to you how you interpret it. So yeah, I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. We're here at home. I've got my computer set up. I'm very able to basically create these videos and make some nice, easy question and answer sessions. I hope they don't drag out too long for you. If you are a subscriber, thanks for watching the channel. If you'd like to give it a thumbs up, that's really up to you. Maybe a thumbs down even. I mean, that's completely up to you how you deal with that. If you want to post a comment or a mention about this video, or you have another question I can bring up in a future video, let me know in the comments. And I'm going to put right here or here, I'm going to mix this up again, another video for you to watch. So basically you've got something to follow on from this one. Pretty much a video from the past that I've made, which you might find interesting. Thanks for watching I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. Have a nice day. Bye.